Hello, everybody. This is Jared Opsel. I'm the Executive Director of Givable. If you're not familiar with us, what we do is we try to lift up our region's nonprofits by offering them different ways to help raise funds for those nonprofits and also raise awareness of them. So we offer a program where you can donate right from your inbox. We also host events for nonprofits, giving them an opportunity for exposure and to raise a little bit of funds. And we're also now beginning to reach out and speak with local nonprofits who have been adjusting to things during the COVID-19 quarantine situation here in St. Louis, and how they're changing their programming, how they're changing their fundraising. So hopefully that other nonprofits listening can get a few ideas of how maybe they could make alterations and keep their nonprofit moving forward and serving our community. So today we have Kristen Carroll here with Girls in the Know. She is their marketing manager. And just to give a couple little facts about Girls in the Know and the reason they exist. So they offer programming that is based around making healthy decisions and increasing self-worth of girls in the St. Louis area. And right now before all this began, they offered all their sessions in person. So it's quite a shift, I think, for them, what they're going to be doing now. And the reason they exist is because every 7 seconds, a girl is bullied. And 7 out of 10 girls report that they believe they are not good enough for what they are doing at that moment in time. So without further ado, I'd like to hand it over to Kristen Carroll and hear a little bit about their organization and some things that they've been doing to adjust.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jared. Thanks for having us today. And I would love to just kind of start and echo what you said. Yeah, every 7 seconds a girl is bullied, and that 7 out of 10 statistic really moves us to do the work that we do. 7 out of 10 girls feel like they're not good enough, and I think that kind of shift becomes really prevalent around 10 years old. And we try to reach girls between ages 9 and 13. We feel like that's a critical age when you want to keep that spark, that uniqueness of self alive in a girl, and really give her a strong sense of self going into her teenage years when there's a lot of pressures externally to kind of maybe be something that they're not, or feel like they're not good enough in some way. So our goal is to help girls realize their power and understand that they are enough in their preteen years. So we have offered 4 sessions since we were started in 2009 by Lori Lander as an answer to that problem. And we address body image, safety, puberty, and self-esteem in our sessions. And especially right now, we were thinking about with COVID, what might be missing for our girls that our programming addresses, and what might they need now more than ever with social isolation, with exposure to technology, and maybe increased need for an understanding of cyber safety, and encouragement for healthy living styles, even though we're cooped up inside most of the time. So how to protect your health through food and through movement while we're isolated and in quarantine. So we have pivoted and are excited to have been able to do so. We had a lot of help from our volunteers and some really brilliant staff to help us make the shift. But one of our wonderful school partners with St. Louis Public Schools is Compton Drew ILC Middle School. And we had a session scheduled for them in early March to mid-March. I think it was around maybe March 18th. And we called them right before that session and said, we just saw news, school partners aren't allowed in schools anymore. And how can we still reach you? And so we pivoted and offered the session to them via video conference, and with the help of one of their school counselors, Miss Crystal. So we were able to provide that first session virtually in the classroom, but from afar for our partners. And we went from there. We thought, what's stopping us from making all of our programming virtual? So we made the shift in response to COVID-19, but it was a part of our long-term strategic plan.
Interesting. So it really just sped up what you were slowly working on already for.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, we
that's
were working
fascinating.
on a launch, a pilot program, and working on that this summer with the hope to kind of get that pilot program off the ground late summer to early fall. And that happened a lot sooner. And we're really seeing some great results and benefits of that. So some good things have come out of it for us.
Can you speak to it all? What does that virtual program look like versus the in-person? Did your facilitators or educators have to completely alter their curriculum? Did they, was it really just a couple tweaks here and there? Could you speak to that process at all?
Yeah, absolutely. We've been tweaking as we go and finding new places where we can improve the program to make it translate more smoothly to virtual, to make sure that the interactivity isn't lost, and that the girls are able to kind of interact with both their trusted adults and the professionals who lead the seminars. But each of our sessions is led by a licensed female professional in her field, and so they are all trained to give these talks either at the school in our school-based sessions or in the community to a girl alongside their trusted adult. And we did some trainings for them when we shifted to virtual, mostly around how to kind of navigate hosting the virtual conversation and how to, make sure that girls are able to chime in, answer questions, ask questions, importantly, and their trusted adults and participate too. And so we've made some adjustments as we've gone along to our curriculum, but we're using the same curriculum that we used in person for the most part, with a few tweaks to make it fit the virtual model.
It's good to hear, because I think that can be uh, sometimes an insurmountable barrier to some people when they think, oh my gosh, I have to change everything to make
Yeah.
it virtual, and to hear that you have to change some things, but the core of what you do remains the same. I think that can be reassuring to a lot of people.
Yeah, and our we've noticed some actually pretty exciting benefits to the virtual model. We have a puberty session in particular where girls and their trusted adults would normally be either sitting in a group learning about this, or the girls would be learning about it in their classrooms. We've seen kind of some really special interactions, side interactions, while maybe a girl is muted with her trusted adult. They can really have those conversations. And we've noticed some girls maybe feeling a little more comfortable to speak up and ask questions in the comfort of their own home. And with that trusted adult alongside. So it's been kind of nice in some ways. I think there's some coziness and some comfort that wouldn't be there in the normal setting. And we've decided that this will remain a really active component of our programming going forward, even when we're back in the classroom or back in person. We think that this is a great way to, reach our goals, long-term goals of serving, right now we serve about 1,100 girls a year, and we hope to serve 10,000 a year by 2029, and virtual will be a huge component of that. So adding in those virtual sessions going forward is really going to be huge in helping us reach more girls and their trusted adults with our message.
Oh, that's great to hear. That's
Yeah.
really good. Good to hear that you guys are finding a lot of success with that, and the people you're serving, it seems that they're adapting to the new situation, and they're really getting a lot of benefit.
Yeah, it's been good. And feedback is always important too.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
So if we could kind of, I think, use the word of the day, which is pivot, just as you mentioned earlier, and we could talk maybe a little bit about how your nonprofit Girls in the Know has made alterations to your fundraising programs and efforts.
Yeah.
I know that's definitely top of mind for a lot of nonprofits here in St. Louis and really around the country. Is how do we adjust when we can no longer hold an event, or we cannot meet people in person to let them know about our mission and ask for their support? So I'd love to hear about some strategies you have implemented, and how Girls in the Know has adjusted.
Yeah, so we actually had a campaign scheduled before the quarantine was put in place. And so we were planning on hosting a charity campaign, which is Charity, CHARIDY. They're a crowdfunding platform. And basically, you solicit and secure matching funds before the day of, and then it's a 24-hour crowdfunding campaign where those donations that are made day of are all matched. And so donors feel like they have a really big impact because they see their, the tally rising throughout the day, and they get excited about the immediacy of it. And it really feels like kind of coming together to support something that's important to the donors and to those who, have invested in the matching pool. So that was a really exciting way to fundraise. We paused for a little bit just to make sure we were being cognizant of our donors' situations right now, and make sure that we were understanding kind of how these changes might affect our organization, our programming, but also those who support us. So we took a break, and then we came back and pivoted our messaging a little bit to share what we're doing in response. And we had a really successful fundraising event. So something like that, a crowdfunding campaign or a day of giving, I think is a great way to bring your supporters together and share with the community what you're doing, uh, especially in response.
That's great.
Mm-hmm. And we also have had, great support from nonprofit partners in the community in terms of, everyone being willing to share how they're working together and how they're changing, and offer tips to other nonprofits. So we've really been grateful for that. And we're always happy to provide the same advice. And I think we're all in this together. And so it is really nice to be able to team up and come up with solutions as a sector.
All right, that's great to hear. And was there anything else you'd like to add for people to know about Girls in the Know, or anything else you have going on?
Sure. So one bit of insight we found with our shift to virtual programming that's been exciting is we normally offer about 70% of our programs serve underserved girls in St. Louis and are delivered in the school. And so those programs, which we receive a lot of generous funding for, are usually delivered to the girls on their own. And then they are kind of taught about the concept of a trusted adult and asked to identify who those people might be in their life. And then reminded, your teacher or your counselor at school can be your trusted adult. With those programs shifting to virtual, we've been able to kind of work with our school partners to offer links to those and make sure that those opportunities are made known to families and their girls, their preteen girls. And so trusted adults are able to join alongside their preteens that maybe wouldn't have been in the conversation if it was held just in the school. And although we encourage those conversations to continue outside the classroom, that's kind of one of the most important parts of this program. It's been really unique and special to see girls interacting with their trusted adult while they take those virtual sessions. So that's been a benefit we've seen from the virtual programming that we're excited to carry throughout the future of our programs.
Oh, that's great to hear.
Thank you.